everybody, we're back with another 10-minute math review. This time we're sketching sine and cosine functions with transformations. Just want to remind you of the general formula. Looks like this with all these little letters. This is going to be an up and down shift, so a vertical shift. This one here, B, is still our horizontal shift. Just remember that you got to pull it out and in front of the x term. The x term must be plus 1, and a is the amplitude of the curve. So period is still 2 pi over b, and then our horizontal shift, sometimes referred to as a phase shift, so left or right, is negative c, so we're switching the sign there, and then our vertical shift here is given by k. Now, what do our order of operations look like? So when you're drawing a sinusoidal function, I have a really easy way of doing it. I basically like to do my amplitude and sketch the graph. And at this stage, I'll also flip it if we have a negative a value. Then I'm going to label it, which means apply the period. And then I'm going to shift it, which means doing my vertical shifts and my horizontal shifts as well. So we can go on and do our first question here. We are very excited to try it out. And what do we got? Easy one. Y equal 3 sine x. So my a value is 3. And you'll notice that my b term is 1, which means that I'm going to have a period of 2 pi over b, or just 2 pi. So what I like to do is I like to start by sketching just what sine looks like. So I just get a sine curve sketched up like that, and now I label it. So I apply the amplitude by simply labeling it properly like that, and now I want to apply the period. So I know that one full cycle happens in 2 pi units, so that's going to be 2 pi. Half of that is going to be pi. Half of that again is going to be this point here, which we can label as pi over 2. And then if we go this one plus this one, it'll give us this one. So it's going to be 3 pi over 2. And there you have it, a beautiful sine curve. Now this one, getting a little bit trickier. So we got a equals 2. The b value is 4. No need to pull it out because there's no c term. So as soon as you know your b value, go calculate your period. It's 2 pi over b. So in this case, it's going to be 2 pi over 4, which gives me pi over 2. So remember, the period tells you how long it takes to do one cycle of cos. So right off the hop, go ahead and sketch it. Something like that, not bad. Now label it. So period, or my amplitude's 2, so it's going to be 2 and negative 2. And now I'm going to apply the period when I do my labeling here. So one full cycle is going to take pi over 2 units. So this must be pi over 2. Now, go to the midway point. Half of pi over 2 is pi over 4. Do half of that again to get this point here. So that's pi over 8. Now, when you go this one plus this one, that's going to give you this last point here. So when you go pi over 8 plus pi over 4, think of this as 2 pi over 8. So add the other pi over 8 and you're going to get 3 pi over 8. Now on the exam, they're going to want to see it labeled up like that and everything like that for the sketch. So that looks good, but it's an easy way to continue drawing your basic shape and then just labeling what the period should be. So it's beautiful, really, when you think about it. Absolutely stunning. All right, starting to get quite tricky here. So amplitude is 3. Now there's no b term to pull out, so this time we actually have a horizontal shift. Now remember, the sine's the opposite, so it's a horizontal shift, pi units, and I like to stipulate, well, that's to the right. And then we have a vertical shift of negative 3 units, so we're going to be going down. So right off the hop, start with just sketching what sine looks like. So sine starts like this, and then it goes like that, and then like that. So there's my basic sine sketch. Now apply the amplitude, so we go 3 to negative 3. Now I know that I'm going to be shifting down 3 units, so I'm going to roughly just kind of go and say, okay, here's negative 6, because everything's going to shift down 3 units at some point. Now, apply the period. So b is 1, so that means my period is 2 pi. So that means that one full cycle took 2 pi units. Half of that is pi. Half of that, again, is pi over 2. This one plus this one gives you the last one here. So that's 3 pi over 2. Now, let's go ahead and apply our horizontal shift and our vertical shift at the same time. So we simply need to go over pi units to the right. So I know that every tick mark is pi over 2 units. So I'm just going to make 2 tick marks, and I'm going to label this as 3 pi. And I can change this. That's going to be 4 pi over 2. And I just want to know what would this one here be. So this is going to be 5 pi over 2. There we go. So now I'm going to take each point, label them up a little bit here. I'm going to take each point and I'm going to shift them 3 units to the right and 3 units down. I'm going to use an X and I'm going to start here. So pi units to the right and then 3 units down, so that's where that one goes. This one goes pi units over 3 units down, so now it's there. This one goes pi units over 3 units down, so it's there. This one goes pi units over 3 units down, now it's there. And the last one, over pi units down 3. So the x's, all I got to do is join those x's, and there you have it, my new graph right here. Next, this one has a couple curveballs for us. So number one, the amplitude is -1. I need to pull out the b term. So when I pull out the b term here, I'm going to get 2 onto x plus pi over 2. Now this is the first time we've seen a b that we had to pull out ourselves. So b is 2. Go ahead. Plug in your period, it's 2 pi over b, so in this case my period is pi. So that means it's going to take 1 full cycle pi units. What else have we got? Right, well we got a bit of a horizontal shift. So just reverse the sign. So we're going to be going negative pi over 2 units, so that means we're going to be moving to the left. So right off the hop, now think of your normal cos curve. So your normal cos curve is going to look like this. When I sketch it, I also like to apply the amplitude, which means I'm going to flip what my cos curve usually looks like. So it's actually going to look like this. This is still going to be -1, and this is still going to be 1, but I applied the flip because of the amplitude being -1. Now I can go ahead and label it. So I know that 1 full cycle takes pi units. Now do half of that, and that's going to give us pi over 2. Half of that again, and that's pi over 4. And then this one plus this one gives us this one here. So this is going to be 3 pi over 4. So I can just go ahead and just label those usual points. Beautiful. Now all we need to do is do my horizontal shift. Now I'm shifting pi over 2 units to the left. So I just need to make sure, because every tick mark is pi over 4, I just need to make sure that I have enough tick marks. So here's going to be negative pi over 4, and then this would be negative pi over 2. So I need to shift everything over 2 tick marks. So here we go. This one is going to go over here, and maybe I'll just use an X again. This one is going to go over right there. This one's going to go over right here. This one is going to go 1, 2, so now it's here, and then this one is going to go 1, 2, now it's there. So final graph, do your best to do a smooth curve through the x's. Not beautiful, but there it is. So there it is, shifted over, looks nice. Let's move on to our last one. Now this one is from the exam of January 2020. It's a 3 marker, and a couple things they're playing with here. So the interval is -2 pi to 2. This is the minimum, so you can draw more than that. They're just going to be looking for that you're drawing at least from -2 pi to 2 pi. And a couple things to notice. A value is 1. B value is out here in front, and it's a half. So now when the b value is a half, when you go 2 pi divided by a half, you're going to get a period of 4 pi, right? Just do the reciprocal and multiply. So that means it takes 4 pi units to do 1 full cycle of the sine curve. We also have a vertical shift of -1. So it's going to go 1 unit down, which is unfortunate, but whatever. So let's get started here. So draw just 1 cycle of the sine curve right here. So here we go. I'm going to do my best. Whee! Not bad. It's not my greatest, but it's not my worst. And there we go. We can label up those points. Now we know that 1 full cycle takes 4 pi units. So go ahead, label it. Cut it in half. That's 2 pi. This would be pi. This one plus this one gives us this one. And there's 3 pi. Now, a couple of things we need to do. Ooh, I didn't label my amplitude. So there we go. There we go. We need to, first of all, sketch, we need negative 2 pi units over this way. Now remember, this cycle just repeats. So when I start here and end here, then it just does the same exact thing. So this point here is the same as that point there. So if I'm going to go backwards, I'm just going to go ahead and go negative pi. There's negative 2 pi, and that's all I really need. This point is this point, so this point would repeat down here, and then this point would repeat over here. And now I can just sort of sketch this on like that. There we go. So now we have from negative 2 pi to 2 pi if we like, and we can shift it down 1 unit. So we're going to shift it down 1 unit. Obviously, we're going to need negative 2 here, so just move everything down a unit. We can use x's, no problemo. This goes here, this goes here, this goes here, this goes here, and this one goes here. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Almost done. There we go. Wow! Perfect. There you go. Thanks for joining us for another 10-minute math. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's useful. See you next time.